Hello and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no-holds-barred forum for leaders and innovators here on E360 TV. I am LaWanna Bradford, and I'm so excited because we have another special guest for you. Now, right now, there's a lot of change going on in the world. Many entrepreneurs and leaders are feeling a little confused, a little overwhelmed when it comes to time management, overall operating efficiency, feeling perhaps their dreams have been sidelined because of so much pressure. Perhaps you don't have the level of efficiency and automation that you want, or maybe you're moving forward in the day-to-day, but you really haven't measured how effective you are with ensuring you have the right key performance measures in place. Well, today, unlike any other time in history, there's a lot of competition out there. We feel that there's limited resources, perhaps stakeholder engagements, even your overall operating system seem to be in question. But there is hope. And I often tell small business owners and leaders in the corporate setting that we have to be willing to step out of the box, be willing to see beyond what we used to do in the past. Because I believe that if we stay wedded to some of those past principles and processes and limited mindsets when it comes to the expansive possibilities with business, we may be on the road to becoming obsolete. And no one wants that. Well, today I have a very special guest who's going to be joining us. He is an expert in leadership. He has over 30 years of experience in the research and development industry, helping to build overall operating efficiencies, leadership acumen. He is now a business coach, having left the private industry and now working on a global scale in his own area of expertise. And it is none other than Mosongo Moukwa. He is also a best-selling author of the book, Become a Leader of Significance, and we'll unpackage that in a little bit. So stay tuned, get ready, get out your notes, however you want to take them, through your device or old school pen and pencil. I promise you want to lean in to what Mosongo has to say. We'll be back in just a moment. Hey, Mosongo, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going well, LaWanna. Good to see you again, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you. I'm real excited about this conversation because the conversation about leadership and entrepreneurs being overwhelmed seems to be rising. In fact, what we're finding is within corporate sector, the demand for employee assistance programs, mentorship around balancing work-life balance and just mental well-being is at an all-time high. There's definitely a need, but we have limited resources in how to navigate this. You, on the other hand, are this expert in business analytics, just business from end to end. But you said something. You said that businesses who only look at the bottom line, only look at profit and revenue, and forget the human centricity component of business, is not positioned to receive all the opportunities that can be available to them. Can you speak a little bit to that, and why do you feel so strongly about that statement?
Yes, because at the end of the day, organization is really about the human connection. So that's really at the foundation of all of that. So for you to have a very effective organization, you need to tap into the energy and the creativity of the people, because at the end of the day, those are the people who are going to execute on your vision, and that vision has to be a shared vision. So those are the people that you want them to feel that they're part of something bigger than themselves. So that's why I'm saying that you will achieve your profit earning. You will achieve all of that. But really, but at the end of the day, it's really, unless you can move people along with you, you'll never be able to achieve that. And then finally, I would say that if you really want to leave a legacy, that legacy is really through people. That's what that comment meant to me.
I like that. So gone are the days where it's just top down, do as I say, salute in color, but really getting people to buy into this vision where it becomes a shared vision, as you said, where people are sold into this thing that you're doing that's bigger than them. And I want to ask you this because one of the things that I've noticed really probably in the past 20 years, a greater shift with corporations in now leading with not only their values, but their give backs, right? What they support, what means a lot to them. Why has that shift happened?
Let me understand. When you say what support them, just elaborate.
Sure. I'll give you an example. Like Bomba socks, right? You buy socks or buy any of their undergarments, and then they donate. They give back to to impoverished communities, for example. Yes. So this giving, this philanthropic posturing seems to be increasing when it comes to how corporations are doing business. They want you to know that they care.
Yes. No, this is a great question. Actually, it comes down to the purpose of the organization, the purpose of whoever is the business owners, because purpose really goes far beyond roles. It's in a way, it's a way of living. It's an expression of your value. So when people are doing that, is an expression of their value, their essence. So it's something you can offer to the world, and it is what truly sets you apart, so to speak. So purpose is in a way that invisible thread that weaves through the entrepreneurship journey and giving meaning to challenges. But really, for the small business owner, the idea of a purpose, or for the organization for that matter, is not just a luxury. It's actually essential. So in terms of them, whatever they want to do for the community, for example, and so on. So that's really the expression of that. That's why people are doing it. So it's not done by accident, but it's intentional.
Yeah, I like that. So we can learn from your legacy companies, from your larger corporations, and what they're doing, because there definitely is a trend with that. Even when I'm looking at commercials or print ads, I see this caring factor woven in.
Yes,
right?
yes, and that is very important even for the small business owner, because the absence of purpose, if we can take the flip side, that really leads to profound consequences that will manifest in what psychologists call existential indifference. So this is a condition where you are disengaged from life, deeper questions. So that for the small business owner, that could manifest in terms of loss of passion, and purpose also profoundly influences relationship. The same way we're building relationship with some of those companies out there. For you as a business owner, once you have really come to grips and you have rediscovered your purpose, that influences relationship. And so when you, as a small business, you understand your why, people are naturally drawn to you like a magnet. So they will desire what you possess, thinking that buying your product or services or attending your events, it's really a part of what you have discovered might also influence them. So this idea of so what you see there is really tied up with the purpose. But for the small business owner, discovering that purpose can transform them into a more effective business owners. That's what I believe. So instead of focusing only on the next financial plan or market strategy, so here you have an opportunity of deepening your connection to your own personal purpose. That's really extremely important, because actually you have two pieces, huh? You have dreams and you have purpose. Dreams is what you want to achieve, but the purpose is really what is sustaining you. So that's what it is.
I like that. I've often heard people say if your why, i.e., your purpose, doesn't make you cry, you probably haven't found it yet, because it does tap into that emotion when things are hard.
Yes.
You still press, right? It's something you think about. You live, sleep, and eat this purpose. It embodies you, and it becomes an outward expression.
Yes.
And very often, since we're talking about your small business owners and entrepreneurs, we're busy focused on the grind, on the day-to-day. How many sales am I making, right?
Yes.
And it can cause us to lose that connection with, number one, our bigger why. Yes. But then, as you mentioned, that why becomes that attraction magnet that draws people to us.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what would you say to that entrepreneur? Because we have a lot who are making the mass exodus, right? They're leaving corporate. They're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they want to do their own thing. But they're either have created a job for themselves, or they're chasing a dollar and find that they're really not connected to that greater sense of purpose. They're becoming, like you mentioned, when we spoke previously about this feeling of being overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would you say to them, or to that individual who is relatively new in the entrepreneurial space?
Yes. No, this is comes really at a good place. This is a great question, by the way. This is for many of our entrepreneurs listening there. So what small business owners they are looking for is financial independence. They're looking to leave a legacy for their children and spend time with loved ones. But the reality is that they are not achieving those. So they keep working, and there are so many factors at play. Huh? And they are overwhelmed with cash flow, competition, turnover, and so on. So what happens is that number one, there is that fear of failure that start to set in. So many small business owners then become afraid of failing. They become conservative. They don't want to take any risk. Then also self-doubt beginning to set in. So owners then they're struggling with that feeling, questioning sometimes if they actually truly deserve their own achievement. And they don't want to take time off. They're afraid that this may harm their business. So they become stressed. No quality time with family, which is a key component of their goal, actually. This is one of the reasons, actually, they got into the business. And then lack of clarity and focus. And without clarity and focus, it's very difficult to achieve your long-term goal. So we all know that. So, and the other one I should say is that then you're beginning to live in isolation and lack of support. That's because running a business can be a lonely proposition. Right? You feel isolated in your own struggle, and that leads to emotional exhaustion and lack of motivation. And many of the small business out there, they lack access to mentors, advisor, or coaches, which can provide some support to them and make it easier for them to navigate those challenges effectively. So that's really what is happening. So what I usually, so how to solve that? So how to solve that? What I'm suggesting is that first of all, you have to understand those challenges and pressure which are happening for many of the small business out there.
Mosongo, let's put a pin right there, because I definitely want to get into the solutions, but I want to just make sure that the audience is leaning in. You basically gave a map, I want to say, of experience, of existence, right? This is where we may find ourselves in maybe all of these buckets.
Yes.
I mean, if so, you're truly in a state of overwhelm. But you said that there's fear, right? And that fear causes us to become paralyzed. Creates limited thoughts, beliefs. We don't want to see it. We don't want to hear it. We don't move. We become immobilized.
Yes.
Then you mentioned, because I just see all of these like building upon one another. So if I have fear, then it feeds self-doubt.
Yes.
Right? I start to question, am I worthy? Am I
Yes.
deserving? I have the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Just all of these, again, mental anxiety is coming up.
Yes.
Then you said that most of us, when we start our business, we have these dreams that not only will the finances be there, but because of the money and the peace of mind, now I have more family time. But in this scenario you painted, there's limited family time. We're burning the candles at both ends, more stress. And if we're thinking about that stress and not getting proper sleep, maybe not eating properly, that leads to another host of perhaps chronic diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said this, and I think this is so critical. There are actually two parts. You said lack of clarity and lack of focus.
Yes.
So when you have all of this going on, a very cluttered mind, you can't have clarity in that. They don't coexist, right?
You can.
Either you're clear or you're not. Either you're focused or you're not.
Yes.
And then this is the first time I've heard it mentioned this way. And I really want to sit into this because of where we are with mental wellness, not only in this country, but around the world. You said lack of isolation, or the isolation, not lack of isolation.
Yes.
Causes us to not have the support around us. It causes us to be existing without insulation.
Yes.
And that causes us to go down a really dark path.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that, and what do you say to individuals who, because I know you said, and I know I'm saying a lot here, because this is a very rich conversation. Your exact quote was, "I found through my business journey that my struggles became my breakthrough." So I want the audience to know you've gone through some rough times, right? But through those lessons, you now are the coach who you are today to help them find opportunity in the chaos.
Yes. LaWanna. Yeah. Let me, maybe your audience, they can hear my story, LaWanna. So I work in corporate for many years at the senior role. I was vice president at the AC Johnson and a number of companies, global organizations, and so on. But for years I was pulled between corporate life and entrepreneurship. On one hand, chasing security while craving meaning. So each time I wanted to leave, they told me, "No, don't leave. We will send you to Austria. Or don't leave. And we will buy a house there." So the carrot became bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, I could have stayed comfortable, safe, but I was building someone else's dream. And but at some point I just could not stand it anymore. So I broke free from the golden shackle, like I like to say it, and leap. So I leap without a parachute, no roadmap, no safety net, and the truth is that at that time, I don't land on my feet, at least not at first. I burned through savings, I maxed out on 80,000 credit line. I sold things that mattered to me. And then eventually, with great reluctance, I asked one of my relatives to lend me 10,000 with some interest. And then despite all of that, things were just sliding. And I remember that December, I only had $500 in my account. Luckily, my wife, she was in school, also working part-time, so that gave us a bit of a reprieve, but not too much. I was behind car payment. I was behind mortgage. Winter was coming in. Then you begin to wonder, man, are we going to be able to pay for gas and so on? So, and then in the evening, as I remember, my wife and I will sit there and we will be sharing our meal, but we will sharing it in silence. And that silence was actually heavier than words. So it's like this silence that you can hear actually. So I felt trapped, like as though walls were really closing in, completely hopeless. and every decision I was making appeared like it was a mistake, and I could not find a solution. People come to me and say, "Well, Mosongo, you are strong," but honestly, I was thinking, "How did I get here?" So it's really at that moment, as I was near bottom and emotionally and financially drained, that I realized that something has to change. Then I remember when I was a student, we used to protest a lot in support of Nelson Mandela. We'll go to store and boycott orange juice coming from South Africa and so on. But then I remember something he said. He said, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." So fear is always there every day, but really the courage means taking the next step anyway. So that's really what it is here. And then slowly wins arrive. The first client comes in, he says, "Sir, you helped my business." And then the first month you see that revenues were coming, more than expenses. The first mortgage, when those banks used to be behind your back, now you feel, oh man, at least this month I won't have any trouble with them. It's as though slowly each win became like almost like a stitch in the parachute that you did not have. Huh? And then so stitch by stitch, I began to learn that the price, I should not price things out of fear because the customer will not get it, but really price it on value. I began to ask better questions, and I began to design offer that solve actually the real problem of the customers. But really, what I learned is that in business you need to have a foundation, strong foundation, and you need to focus on what matters. You need to develop high return habits, and most of all, personally, what I learned humility. I learned to ask for help. I learned to take feedback, and then also I learned to keep moving forward, even while I was afraid. So in a way, I feel like as an entrepreneur, you face your own choices: comfort or courage, or safety versus significance. So that's really what my story is. So when I talk to small business owner, I tell them, I know what you feel because I've been there, and I remember this client of mine. He was a bakery owner, and John one afternoon at 2 p.m. He got the text from his wife that stopped him cold. "Are we still married?" And then John was there, invoices piling up, cash flow drying up, and then slowly his own passion was disappearing, and he was being replaced by self-doubt, as I mentioned there, and worried. And that's what many small business owners they go through there. And then what I do is what I'm saying is that there is a hope. You can break that cycle if you have the right tools, if you develop that clarity. And to start with, you have to reconnect with your purpose. Why are you actually in that business? So that you can have that fire that will keep you going even during challenges. So that's my story there.
Oh, I love it. I mean, you like brought us into your world and then gave us solutions along the way. And I think that's the thing when we are overcoming, to allow our story to empower us often. And I know I was there, Mosongo. I didn't want to tell my story. I was celebrating where I was, but I didn't want people to know that LaWanna at one time was struggling as a business owner.
Yeah.
I just didn't want them to know that.
Yeah.
But when you share that, then you create a greater sense of relatability, right? And affinity with the audience that you're trying to serve.
Yes. And I learned humility, to ask for help.
Yeah, you have to swallow your pride, definitely. You said, and I love the quote that you gave by Nelson Mandela, Courage is not the absence of fear,
Yes.
but the triumph over it.
Yes.
Right? So it's
Yes.
feeling the fear and doing it anyway, pressing through, even when we may have those negative thoughts running through our head, or
Yes.
perhaps even your social circle is not encouraging you, but rather beating you down and asking,
Yes.
like you mentioned, you described leaving a place of comfort and security with your corporate job. You
Yes.
described it as golden shackles.
Yes.
You chose to leap without a parachute,
Yes.
and you crashed.
Yeah, I crashed many times. I crashed many times. Just by the grace of God, we are still around. But, we crashed many times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. What what would you say to someone who is hitting perhaps wall after wall? Because sometimes the entrepreneur thinks the moment I get out, I've got a great idea, I know my purpose, and I'm going to build it, and they're going to come. And it's not that easy. It may take years
Mm-hmm.
of the struggle, of the reinventing, of falling, dusting yourself back up and pressing through. What would you say to someone who feels like, I should have taken the blue pill,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I need to go back to corporate and get plugged back into the matrix, because this entrepreneur game is just not working for me?
Yes. Yes. Well, really, it comes down to your why. Yeah, why are you doing this? Actually, why am I doing this? So because unfortunately that the grind of that daily operations, the sleepless nights, and constant challenges. Yeah, so all of that tend to overshadow our dream. So that vision that you thought was clear now it becomes blurred, and then the question becomes, you know why am I doing this? Why am I in this situation? What I like to tell people is that the flame is not gone. The flame is just buried under the weight of those challenges and those pressures, and you don't need to look beyond yourself to reignite it. So what you need to do is to rediscover that fire, right? So to uncover the dream that first set your heart ablaze, but that one is already inside you. So when you acknowledge that, then something really incredible happens. It's like you have this profound shift in perspective, huh? So that's what I tell the people. So first of all, try to reconnect with that. Why are you here? I had a client many years ago, and as we were talking, and I was asking why he was doing what he was doing. Obviously, the first thing he said, "Well, I want to make 500,000 or whatever in 2 years, 3 years, and whatnot." But then when you begin to dig deeper, and then you realize that actually this fellow, his dream was to buy a home for his mother, because he grew up poor, and he told me that he always hated each time he goes to visit her mother to see that she was still living in that same house, same neighborhood. So he said, "Man, if one day I make 500,000, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to buy a house for my mom." So that was his driver, huh? That was, at least at that time, because that could also evolve. So you need to ask yourself, why are you doing this? Because that reminder is going to help you get that energy back and continue to do. And then secondly, I would say, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to say, "Oh man, I'm really struggling here. Man, I'm really I'm mentally it's just a disaster. I need to talk to someone. I need to see whether somebody." There are a number of resources, huh? Whether it's for mental health, whether it's for helping small business owners. A number of chamber of commerce, they have some free resources and so on. But quite often, unfortunately, small business owners, they don't always take advantage of those. Huh? They because they have been working on it so much, they're almost like afraid to say, "Man, I'm not progressing," because that would appear as though they failed. in what they set out to achieve.
Yeah, I love that. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with Mosongo Moukwa to talk about Overwhelm to Unstoppable, Unproven Keys to Business Growth. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back for the second half of this amazing show. For those of you watching, I promised you it was going to be good. Now we're going to unpackage. Mosongo, before break, we were talking about knowing your why, reconnecting to that purpose and that passion, and being willing to ask for help. So I want to ask you, Mosongo, you left the comfort of corporate. You felt for some reason you weren't satisfied. What was your driving factor? What was your why, and what is your why for doing what you do today?
No, my why. My why. I wanted to leave a legacy. At that time, I was really dreaming of building some big organization, my own, that would have impact on the community. So that was really my dream. But the other driver was also, he said, no, I want to leave something for my children here, because I don't want them to be one day in a situation where financially they're having issues or things of that sort, and so that they will have a small parachute in whatever they want to do. I'll be then in a position of helping them if they want to start their own thing, and so on. So that was really really the driver for me there. So that's what carried me throughout those years, to tell you the truth. Huh?
Yeah, I like that, because when you're able to tap into that why, it's very visual, right? I mean, you can see it crystal clear, and with that ever before you,
yes,
that's what pushes you forward. I often think, and I'd like to get your take on this. This is kind of a little sidebar. Mm-hmm. We have individuals, and they do every year. They go through and they do their visioning sessions, their vision boards, and they have all these things on their vision board, everything they want to see at the end of something. So at the end of the rainbow, I hope to achieve all of these things. And that's great, right? That's a measurable result. Mm-hmm. But where I think that often those vision boards are not as effective as they could be for individuals, mm-hmm. is it's not tied to the purpose. Mm-hmm. And so people are spending year after year dreaming the same dream on the same wheel, but not going anywhere. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like in my coaching session, when I work with the client, I try to guide them through a process of envisioning their best possible selves and businesses. So that will start by with defining what success looks like for them, and what their ultimate goals are, actually, and then connecting those goals to their deeper purpose. And you're absolutely right. You have to connect that to the deeper purpose. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. So you have to do that, and then from there, then we implement some practical strategies and so on. But that's the first exercise. So that vision, but then connecting all those goals to your deeper purpose. So you're absolutely right there. I 100% with you there.
Let's go through now. We're going to talk a little bit about some tactical pieces that you mentioned earlier on. So we're now in business, and you said the first thing, and I'm going to flip it because you actually said two things, but you said you have to solve a real problem. Yes. Right? So it's not just building and hoping they'll come. You've identified something that's screaming for a solution, and you are the one that's bringing the solution to the table. Yes. How do people find the problem?
Well, I mean, the problem, you have to look at what is the pain people are suffering with. What is the problem that they want what are their pains, and then what are you offering that as a gain, so to speak. For example, if people um, movers, so you have choices. You can move, your belongings with your car, or you can hire a moving company. If you move a moving company, then you don't have to go to the hassle of packing and whatnot, injuring yourself and so on. So that's the pain. The gain is that now they have somebody else doing that. So you really, by observing, you have to see what are the people struggling with here, and what could be the solution that I could provide to relieve that pain. So that's what. So if one has an idea, the first question is that here is that what will this do? So the way to do it is like if you state, well, I've developed this new product for hair. The question I will tell people, then ask, so what? And then when they give an answer, so what? Because sometimes you'll hear, oh, I have this bio product, bio product for hair. Oh, so what? And then the person then can say, well, because there are no chemicals there. So what? Well, because then many of the ladies and whatnot, they've complained having all those chemicals, smelling it and whatnot. So what? Then those people, they'll be much healthier. They won't be exposed to those things. So then you begin to discover really what is the problem that you're solving, and what are you providing as a solution. Otherwise, it remains like almost a slogan. Huh? So that's what I encourage people. So find the pain, describe the pain, and then continue to dig in. So what? So what? So what? So that you can really get the essence of what you're trying to solve.
Yeah, I definitely use that whole principle in my consulting services. It's really peeling back that onion, because unless you do that,
Yes.
you don't even know what you're truly working on. And then how do you properly message and market? So if you're just marketing, hey, I've got the best hair care product.
Yes.
Well, so do thousands and thousands of other people, right?
Yeah.
And I think it helps you to identify.
Yes.
Through understanding the problem and the pain,
Yes.
why you are the best viable option.
Yes. And then once you have that, LaWanna, then now you need to validate that. You need to validate that idea. So which means that try to have a prototype so that you can get feedback from users. Users could be family members, users could be somebody out there, and so on. And then you can get some feedback. Maybe once you put it out there, you're going to realize that no one seems to be interested in. But then ask them why they're not interested in. Well, what else they would have hoped to see there, and so on. That then helps you refine the idea. So it's almost like an experiment that you need to conduct, for you to really to
Yes,
the right
I remember early in my consultant days, I had was asked to come and speak to a group of small business owners for a local county. And I went and I gave my keynote, my little teachable moments, and I felt really good about it. And so afterwards, I asked the host, I said, "What did you think?" And he said, "Well, you were very articulate." He said, "But what were you talking about?" And I'm like, "We were talking about strategic planning." He said, "You were so technical,
yes,
that you didn't read the audience and you really lost them."
Yes.
And so sometimes we get in our own way, right?
Yes.
We know what we know, and we assume that everyone else is following our same logic.
Yes.
But more often they're not.
Yeah. Simple language. And then once you give them the product or whatever services, you have to look at how are they actually responding to that. You have observed how they're responding, how they're touching the material, how they're actually using the services. All of these are feedback, by the way. All of these are feedback to your product or services. So it's not just put it out there and nobody's buying. Well, let me observe how people actually are using this service. How are they? Because then you can adjust. Because sometimes it may not be the product per se, but it may be something around that. Huh? You may have coffee, but people aren't coming there to buy your coffee, but they're coming to buy there maybe because your service is much faster. I don't need to stay too long on the line. Service is faster. Still the same coffee, but then is the coffee around whatever services you have around that cup of coffee.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. The other thing that you said, Mosongo, and I'd like us to sit here for a moment because I know many small business owners and entrepreneurs struggle with this point. You said price on value. And often there's a mindset of if I put a certain price on it, then I'll never attract the right person. So we tend to discount ourselves into oblivion, and it's not about that. So let's unpackage that for a minute for our listening audience.
Yes. There is people should separate. It's not about the price. It's about what the people are willing to pay. Not about your price. It's what they're willing to pay. When you go to the movie theater and you're buying that cup of soda at $5 when you know the full bottle is only $2, why are you paying that? They know you're willing to pay. So which means that you as a business owner, you also need to experiment. And big companies, they do that. They're always experimenting. They'll put one product there, $10.99, and then the same product another time, $12.99 or $20. So if they increase the price, people are still buying. So people are willing to pay more. So people are. So it's really the willingness to pay. How much are they willing to pay? So that's really what the business owners have to say. Now, that willingness to pay, it depends upon the features that you're providing of your product or services, because really that's what the people are buying. They're buying for the features around that product and services. So for that, then you have to see what is the feature here that these people that are willing to pay that a cup of soda at $5 in the movie theater. Well, it's not really the soda; it's the ambience in a movie theater and so on. That's why people are willing to pay so much. So you have a coffee shop next door. A cup of coffee is $3. You are charging $4, and people are still coming. Well, they're coming there perhaps because of the ambience, the atmosphere in your coffee shop, and so on. So people are paying based on those features, and you need to try to identify which feature here for which really these people are paying here. So that's what it is. So distinction, price versus what people are willing to pay. We always have to separate that because it's not always the same.
Yeah, I love your example with the movie theater because it's all about the experience. And you're right. I can watch Netflix at home.
Yes.
Pop my own popcorn, have my own soft drink for pennies.
Yes.
On what I would pay to go to IMAX, right? But it's the IMAX experience.
Yes. The same for coffee shops. Some coffee shop, you go there, you don't blink if they tell you your small cup of coffee is $4. But I like coming there. The service is great. When people go to Barnes and Noble, they like their being among those books and so on, having their coffee. They don't question the price of that cup of coffee or a $4 chocolate bar. So all of that. So it's really what people are willing to pay. In the marketing, they sometimes talk about A/B testing. So A, I'm charging $10. I'm running another experiment. B, I'm charging $12. So let me see which one people are paying. And companies that are doing that all the time. They're doing that all the time. Whether it's airlines, whether it's Walmart, they're doing that all the time. They're experimenting to see how far people actually are willing to pay for a particular product.
Exactly. I like that. And I think what you're saying that's underlying there, you have to be willing to do your homework and do some exploration. Like you said, ask your customers, have a couple of different price scenarios and see find that sweet spot.
Yes.
And go there. But that is a huge point of contention for many small business owners.
Yes.
They don't want to be outpriced or underpriced, I should say, by someone else. But
and LaWanna, sorry to interrupt you, but another example of a cup of coffee with a small cookie. Same coffee, but this fellow charging more, but he's giving a small cookie there. That's costing him probably only a few cents. But the idea of, oh, I'm having my cup of coffee with a cookie. Okay, fine. So people don't blink. They will just pay and then enjoy their cup of coffee and the small cookie. So it's really willing to pay. Huh? Well, what are they willing to pay actually? And for
let's talk about that now, Mosongo. So they're creating an experience, and the entire buying journey, customer buying journey, is an experience. No matter what it is that you're selling, product, services, there is an experience.
Yes.
How can an entrepreneur find out what that buying experience is?
Well, for that, the entrepreneur has to. I like to say that we should be like an archaeologist. So meaning that we have to observe. We have to observe how people are interacting with their services. So people come to your store, they enter there, 2 minutes they leave. They enter there, 2 minutes they leave. Only a handful actually stay there. They look at your clothing and so on. So you have to ask yourself, why is it that out of the 20 people, only 2 actually stayed here? The other one, they just stayed 2 minutes and they left. So people really need to ask themselves that question. That's why we have to observe. We have to observe how the customer is actually behaving and trying to understand that, because in reality, and research have shown that people at any point in time, it's only 1% to 3% that are there in a marketplace with the ready to buy. So that means that the 97% who are there, they're just wandering around, really. So that's what it is. They're just wandering around. So they are and this has been research. So 1% to 3% in a market to buy at any moment in time. So you go to the mall, out of 100 people there, so maybe 1 or 2 there are actually there with the idea of buying something there. The rest are just in this buying journey. They're just traveling there. They're looking around, what is out there and what not. Why should I buy? They ask themselves why I should not buy, and then who I should buy it from. So that's what it is. Now for the small business owners, so you want to find a way of pulling them in. So for that, I suggest to them is that you need to convey a message around 4 blocks. One will be you need to captivate them. So you need to address the problem that they have. Then you need to fascinate them. So meaning that you need now to show them the solution to their problem. And then you need to educate them. And then finally, obviously, you need to close. If you do that, then those touching point, people coming, going in and out, and then next day they come again, they still don't buy, and so on. Then you reduce what I call those touch points in a way. So that's what I find in my work.
So we want to attract them, fascinate them, educate them.
Yeah, captivate, fascinate, and educate them. Yeah.
We are almost out of time, and I'm going to turn this over to you, but I want to ask you one question, if you could answer this briefly. And you said, because you've gone over a lot, so I'm just going to repeat these for individuals that really are leaning in. Reach out to Mosongo to get more information on pricing, on value, understanding how you can identify and solve the real problem, focusing on what matters most, avoiding the financial drain. And then I want us to sit here with, how do you find out what is the right question? You said ask the right question.
Well, I mean, asking the right question comes from from practice, and you have to learn to ask open-ended question. I think we have a tendency of speaking more than the other person. Actually, when we're asking, just simple example, you meet somebody, you see him with a big sweatshirt, Harvard University. Then you say, hey, oh, Harvard, did you go to school there? Any of your kids there? Oh, no. I just, my son-in-law gave me this and whatnot. You start the conversation. So are you from here? Then you stay silent. Then the fellow say, no, I'm not from here. I just came from Las Vegas and whatnot. So now that the fellow he has the feeling that he's being listened to. It's not you trying to to talk more than him. So these are the types of questions, but associated with listening skills. That's when you can garner information. So do that with your customers. You just small things. You say, hey, I saw that you're looking at that particular cookie there or that particular cake there. Then say, then you start the conversation. I'm from New York and whatnot. We don't see this type of cake there. And then you begin to learn. And maybe you might even learn some new recipe just having that conversation from this individual. So, but it becomes, it's a matter of practice. Speak less, listen more. Ask open-ended question and let them continue the sentence. So that's really what I would say.
Yeah, that's really good advice, because sometimes if we're talking too much, we can end up talking someone in and out of a sale.
Yes.
Right. Because my dad would always say, don't get to the point where you enjoy the sound of your own voice, right? You just talking incessantly. So listening is so key, because our clients are, either through their actions, their words, their reviews, are telling us what they think of our experience.
Yeah. They're giving you those clues. They're giving you information while they're talking. Yes.
Well, absolutely. We are almost out of time. Mosongo, I'm going to give you the floor to share a bit more with our listening audience. So take it away.
Yeah, well, what I would say, first of all, I want to thank you for having me in your program here. I think this conversation we could have continue here for hours, and I'm hoping we'll have an opportunity to tackle other subjects. But what I would say is that you did not start your business just to work longer hours, and then feel chained, to it. So you started it because you had a vision of freedom, impact, and better life for you and your family. But here's the truth. 80% of your income comes just from 20% of your effort, what you do in your business every day, essentially. So when you discover that 20%, then everything shifts. Then you stop chasing opportunities and you start building actually a business that gives back to you. So that's really what it is. Now, you don't have to do this alone. I've created a safe container for small business owners, a space where you'll find the guidance and the support you need to move forward with clarity and confidence. That's what I do with small business owners every day. So I help them uncover hidden revenue, which is already inside your business, so that we can unlock those 6 figures of growth without spending additional money on marketing. So if you are ready to go from overwhelmed to unstoppable and build a business that truly gives you back, I'd love for you to connect with me. And I'm offering actually a one-on-one complimentary session where I will share with you some strategies that I've discovered that you can implement immediately to improve your sales and profitability. You can contact me via my website or through LinkedIn, but please do mention that this came from LaWanna Bradford show.
Thank you so much, Mosongo. This is rich. You're right. I mean, we could have just been going on and on and on with this conversation. We definitely need to have you back. Your solutions are straightforward, but we have to be willing to partner with an expert such as yourself to help us get to where we want to go that much faster, to help us to avoid some of the landmines that are out there, to learn from your experiences and through your sharpened lens, because we don't know what we don't know, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a great great conversation. I hope your listener, they have gotten a few insight. Certainly, I enjoy greatly sharing what I know, and I'm still learning. So
Yes. Thank you so much. Well, you can contact Mosongo Moukwa. His information is below. Mosongomoukwa.coach. You can get his book, Be a Leader of Significance, on Amazon. Please follow him on all things social media. And if you're looking for an innovative coach in these times, connect with Mosongo. Take advantage of that complimentary session, and then see where your journey will go. Because I believe that growth is possible. And I want to just read this one last quote. You said, you have to be willing to have a roadmap and be willing to learn from others. Yes. So we have an expert in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. Take advantage of the time.
Yeah, thank you, LaWanna. It's with great humility, and I'm grateful for having me on your show.
Thank you again. We truly appreciate it. And to our listening audience, I just encourage you just to remember that in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. We'll see you next week for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. Bye for now.
Thank you.